All right, we are live for another episode of Real Estate Junkies podcast. Today we have Tristan Ahumada. Tristan has been in the business for a while, and I've been connected with him, following his journey around the clock. He's been doing some exciting things. From being top 1% real estate agents to founding LabCoat Agents. In this episode, we want to talk about why letting go of your ego is key to building a successful real estate business. Tristan will share his journey from being a rookie of the year to building one of the largest online real estate communities. So, if you are ready to take your real estate business to the next level, you don't want to miss out. So, tune in with us and learn how to grow your real estate business by putting your ego aside. So, Tristan, it's a pleasure to finally have you here. I know we had to reschedule a couple times with your busy schedule, so it's a pleasure having you. Welcome, brother.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate you. And I appreciate being here, man. This is fun. I love your background. I love your t-shirt. It's a good
I love
day.
it. Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. So let's get right into it. Can you tell us about your journey into real estate? What initially drew you into the industry, and how'd you get started?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really easy thing. So I had just graduated college and I was living with my mom and my wife. And my mom, I'm living in my mom's house in a bedroom, and I'm already married.
Wow.
And my wife's like, I think we should figure out what we're gonna do. So I'm like, yeah, I think we should because I have a history degree, and I'm like, I can go to law school, I can do a lot, I can be a teacher, right? And or I can continue through college, get my master's, and maybe be a professor. My mom's like, you know what you should do? You should be a real estate agent because they drive nice cars. And my mom was right. If you look around, real estate agents drive nice cars. Now, can they afford them? Not all the time, but they drive nice cars. That was the thing. That
Wow,
was the
that's
reason. That was the reason.
so you just get into real estate. What was that journey like? What was some of the struggles? Did you start
Well,
driving nice cars right away, or how did that go?
no, man. I think the number one challenge was I had waited to get my license for a while. I guess they were backlogged. I had issues, and while I was waiting, the blessing was that there's an office literally across the street from where my mom's house was, so I could walk there. And so what I would do in between college, because it was my last year and I was already training, I would go in there and pop in the VHS tapes of Brian Tracy and a few other great people that this guy had in his brokerage. And I would just listen there and take notes. And I was learning. This is all new to me. I'm like, this is amazing because I'm a history major, so I like to read, I like to consume, take notes.
Mm.
And I started getting ready a lot. By the time my real estate license came, I knew exactly what I needed to do, right?
Wow.
According to this. So
So
my
you
whole
were in
background,
California market? What market were you in?
yeah, Los Angeles, Ventura County. So let's say, what's a familiar area between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara,
Mm.
close to the beach. So that's where I was born, in Los Angeles. So never left in this, that's the area. I'm going to take a little picture here so we can post it up. So I'm sitting there learning, and I'm like, this is all amazing stuff. And I'm building up the momentum and the feeling because I can't do anything until I get my license. So I finally get my license, and I already had the plan. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to go door knock. And I get my license that day. When I get the announcement, for me, I go and door knock for 6 hours, and I suited up with a tie. This is Southern California, right? May, so it's hot. Dress shoes, and I just went. and I knocked and knocked and knocked, and I realized one thing really fast, that I can't door knock with a full suit for 6 hours because I was
It's
sweating.
uncomfortable.
It was exactly. But I kept doing it, and I loved it. It was one of the things that I absolutely loved. I always had the feeling, so I'm door knocking, and I'm like, "Oh, am I gonna get yelled at? Am I right? Am
Mhm.
I is somebody gonna get mad? Is somebody gonna pull a gun on me?" Right? All of that happened along the way, right? But I even got bit by a dog, but, you learn along the way,
Yeah.
and there are struggles in between there. I think in door knocking in the first few months, I was lucky because one of the doors that I knocked, there was somebody there who owned the home, but the person that was visiting was the person that ended up buying a home with me 3 months
Wow.
later. So it was pure chance, right? Just me
Mm.
knocking enough doors at the time, right? Different world. And then I was holding open houses, and I got my first transaction from an open house as well. And then every day I made it a routine to call up my mom and be like, "Hey, mom, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell real estate?" My
Role
mom
playing
was
with
very yeah,
your
my
mom.
mom was very integral into my success because she also gave me a referral. So the first 3 closings were the open house, the door knocking, and the referral from my mom.
Wow.
That's what made it
So
happen. And
when was it? What year was it?
it was 2004.
Okay. So
That
if
was
you
the year.
lost everything today, right? All your knowledge in
Mhm.
real estate, all the experience you lost, all the connections and relationships you got, and you're starting all over again, what would you do?
Oh, man. It's a slightly different world, but the core of everything is still based on relationships, so that's the
Mm.
good thing.
Yeah.
But I would do 3 things really fast. One of them is I would go to where I know people are ready to sell their homes. I know
Mm.
people don't wanna hear this part, but listen, expireds and for sale by owners is still going to be the fastest way if it's
Yeah.
not working for you, or if your state doesn't allow you to call these. I
Mm.
understand, right?
Yep.
If it does allow you to call them, call them. If it allows you to go reach out to them in person by door knocking, that's
Mhm.
amazing. But I know it works. It still works.
Yeah.
So for sale by owners and expireds, that would be number 1. Number 2, open houses.
Mm.
And I would this is me, okay, because I know how it works. I would be like, "Well, you know what? 1 open house a week, meh, 2 open houses." I would be like, "Let's do 30 open houses in 30 days." That's what I would do, at
Wow.
least. If I could
Yeah.
do 62 a day, I definitely will. Believe
That's
me,
crazy.
I will. And then the 3rd thing is I would decide what social media platform am I going to
Mm.
go all in on, and decide, is it going to be about the community? Is it
Yeah.
going to be a little bit about real estate? Is it going to be about answering questions to people who want to move here or are visiting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then whatever I decide to do, I'm going to be posting 3 to 6 reels a day with about 10 stories a day, and
Wow.
then probably 1 or 2 static posts that are pictures. That's my plan.
That's crazy. So I see a mixture of one-to-one and one-to-many marketing there. And of course, your one-to-one is the lowest hanging fruit. So you have the best return on your investment. And then your open house, you're going all in. That's aggressive. 30 in 30 days. I'll be
Yeah.
interested to know if someone did that and what are the results they got out of it. They gotta be crazy results. Like if you
Yeah,
go
they
that.
are. I'll tell you they are good results. We interviewed, an agent out here in Palm Springs. His name's Payson. He did 100 open houses in 100 days, got 16
Wow.
closed transactions from that. So I
Wow.
know,
And
and
and and it's
this is
probably a
recent.
lot more return on investment in the long run, right? All
Oh,
the relationships you
100%.
build. Yeah.
100%, man. I think that the thing that we always forget as just business owners in general is that everything works. Now, everything doesn't work equally, right?
Yeah.
And this is where you have to work and see, well, how did this work in
Mm.
comparison to the energy or time I put into it? How
Yeah.
did this
Yeah.
work?
Mm.
And so this is where you have to decide, is it worth it for you? Right?
Yeah.
Depending on your skills too. Like
Yeah.
I pick things that are great for me and my skills. My
Yeah.
background while I was in high school and college is all telemarketing. So
So you
I'm
on the
okay
phone.
calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay calling. I'm okay in person, right? And I love social media. So those are the things. I know some people will be like, I won't do any of those. And they're going to go all in on events or
Yeah.
the local chamber of commerce or school nights or whatever, right? The
Yeah.
point is, here's the point. Whatever you think you need to do to be successful,
Yeah.
it's going to take multiple amounts of that, what you
Yeah.
thought, in
Yeah.
order to get to where you want to get to. This is
Yeah.
why it's not going to be one open house a week. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah,
Right.
it will take a long time. I mean, it could be, right? It will be a long time before you see
Yeah.
results,
Look,
right?
I've sat at an open house for Mother's Day, and I sold that house. It happened one time. So it
Wow.
can happen.
Yeah.
But does it happen all the time? Like, I'm increasing my chances if I do this for 30 days straight,
Mm.
right? Or I go all in on something because I can be like, "Oh, you know what? That worked. What did I do
Yeah.
that day that it worked so well? Can
Mm.
I duplicate that?" Right? So all of my testing is
Yeah.
squeezed into a really short amount of time so I can go back
Yeah.
and research.
Yep.
And
You
we
have
forget that.
you get a lot of data, right? And I think that's the thought process behind doing 3 to 6 reels a day and 10 stories a day. Tell us about why that aggressive. Why do if someone does go all in on social media, why do they have to be that aggressive?
Well, in anything that you do, you've got to be aggressive if you want to succeed quickly, right? If you
Mm.
want to succeed slowly over a long period of time, either because you have to, because you have a part-time job or a
Yeah.
full-time job, or you've got kids, or you're in a situation where you can't do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if this is it, if this is your only job, like it was
Mm.
for me at the time, right? If this is your only job, then you have no excuse. You're in your own way.
Yeah.
And if you start putting things out as much as possible, fast, in a really short period of time, your growth trajectory will be so much faster because
Mm.
you're learning so much quicker. You're like
Yeah.
30 open houses in 30 days. Let me tell you, the average agent doesn't have 30 open houses in a year.
Yeah.
Imagine how much you learn then. Now, social media, the average agent doesn't even shoot this many stories, videos in a
In a
month,
year. Yeah,
in
you're
a
talking
year in
about a
some
day.
cases. Yeah, and you're doing this in a day? Now you're gonna go back 30 days later and say,
Yeah.
"Why did this one reel get thousands of views? Can I duplicate that? And how many followers did I get?" And in fact, they had questions, and I might have gotten somebody who wants to buy later. That's what starts happening in a condensed period of time. This is
Mm.
why we need to go further into it. And this
Yeah.
is why you see me everywhere. I try to put in a lot because I can learn. I can go back and be like, that worked, that didn't.
Mhm. Yeah, I think what I have seen agents that don't see success right away or don't see success at all is because of lack of skin in the game. And sounds like to me what you are saying is put your skin in the game, get engaged, get all in. And when you do that much activity in such a short period of time, you could actually adapt really fast. When you're doing one video a week, it takes you a long time before you can actually see the pattern in the data, right? But if you're doing 6 a day, that's 40 a week, right? That's a lot of data for you to analyze, for you
Yeah.
to be able to quickly see what's working, what's not working. That's amazing. Yeah.
And I think the other piece to this is when you go all in anything, you realize that you personally start getting accustomed to the fear. Is the fear
Mm.
still there at the beginning every time? Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah,
it's there.
always, always there.
Yeah, I don't think I ever get I always have self-doubt about doing any lives, by the way.
Mm.
I'm like, "Ah, what if I screw up?" This is me talking still. I'm like, "Oh, shit." I go, "I better not screw that one up." Let's
Yeah.
Am I ready? Tristan, are you ready? The same thing when I'm calling, man. Every Thursday we call live, we prospect live.
Wow.
And every time right before a call, I'm like, okay, here we go, right? I have an uncomfortable feeling, right?
Yeah.
And it's never gone away from me. I don't know if everyone else is the same, but
Oh no, it doesn't. It's for sure. So 2021 was the year that I first started going on video, right? Before that, I built my business on ads, right? Like it was easy, right? Like we used to create static ads and generate leads. Remember those days, right? Like good leads. But
I
then
remember.
2021 comes around. I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to go all in on organic, and you can't build or get any traction creating static flyers. People still think they do, but they don't. Right. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go all in on video. So 2021, 2022, 2023. I haven't done it this year, but I did 30 lives in 30 days to get rid of the fear.
Wow,
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's
so
very
hold on.
similar to, yeah.
I have a question for you. In the 30 days with 30 lives, by the way, I've seen that we're live on Instagram on my other phone here. So 30 days, 30 lives. What did you learn from that?
What I learned is my first one, right? Like let's talk about 2021, the 30 days, 30 lives, is
Mhm.
that video is not as scary if we don't get in our own head, right? Because when you're
Mm,
live, you can't you will mess up, right? And there's nothing you can do about it, right? And then you're offline. You used to be like 5 minute lives, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. But then what I learned, like
yeah.
very quickly that year, I started like everywhere I go, people approach me like, oh, I watched your live. Oh, I watched your video. And going live is a different level of authority than doing videos and reels. When you go live, people look at you differently. And I didn't know that until I did that.
Mm,
People look at you differently, like you got balls, right? Like you got balls to go live, So people look at you
interesting.
differently. They look at you like you're an authority. And I started getting treated differently. Like everywhere I go, agents,
Really?
clients, sphere of influence, friends, family, right? Like, oh, I keep getting notified you're live. And when you do 30 in a row, right? Instagram, when you have close friends, this is a new hack people are leveraging right now, is that your followers, like people that follow you, you add them as a
Yeah.
close friend. So when you're live, you have the green bubble and you're not the red bubbles like everyone else. So and you're the first one, right? When you're live. So people, you're constantly showing up. You're constantly showing up when you're live versus reels. They depend on algorithm, right? So when you do,
That's
that's why I used to
true.
do that. And I do that. I still do these live.
Mm,
I do 2 to 3 a week right now. Some weeks maybe one, minimum one a week. Like that has been my religion on social media. Is minimum I gotta go live once a week. If I don't have a guest, I'm on live talking for 15
okay.
minutes about nothing. You don't have to talk about nothing. You could
I
talk about
like
something.
that.
You know, yeah.
Okay, so what have you learned on the lives for Instagram? Because a lot of people say, well, you know what, Instagram lives don't work anymore. You got to go on TikTok. What's going on there?
I haven't really full. I sometimes I would do live on TikTok while I'm doing these, but I haven't seen a lot. When I was lower than 1,000 followers on TikTok,
Mhm.
I felt like my account was growing really, really fast when I was doing live. But now that I think I've been stuck on like 1,300 and it hasn't grown. So I haven't been consistent on Instagram live. I mean, TikTok lives, but Instagram lives, whenever the goal is what is the goal with social media altogether? Getting knowability, likability, trustability, right? So whenever I'm live, I'm the first person on people's stories. So every time, like this 30 minutes to 45 minutes that we are gonna be live for, people are gonna see me as the first bubble on their story. So it's just
Got
being top
it.
of mind. That's the first thing you're accomplishing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, all right. I like that. You know what? What if we do like, now you're getting me to think more. What if we would do, so hold on. This is good. I I do at least I do many, but at least one video a day for over like, I don't know, dude, 5, 6 years now straight. And so I was like, man, I'm doing so many videos. Let's just do a podcast, 5-minute podcast. So I started
Yeah.
that. So every day I shoot one
Wow.
video on top of everything else. So now I'm thinking, what if what if we could go live every day on
Oh
Instagram,
yeah,
dude?
yeah,
Every
yeah.
day for a year. That would be really good. Let me text myself that.
All your followers, at the very minimum, that's what you would accomplish, is that you're going to become top of mind for them. Because when you are doing your organic content, it's solely relies on who you're engaging with and who's engaging with you, right? People
Mhm,
don't
mhm.
sit there and scroll for 2 hours to catch your content. If someone did, one of your followers, like scroll, they probably watch your video, guaranteed, right? But people don't do that. Maybe maximum 15 minutes, 30 minutes before they jump into the different platform and scrolling, right? They went from Instagram to TikTok. So live allows you to be that, like, as soon as they come on the app, you're the first bubble. At the very minimum, they're gonna click on, like, what is he
Mm.
talking about and whether you're engaging or not, right? And then there is more comes to it when it comes to live, your live framework, right? Like, are you engaging your people? Are you, like, I have seen like people do like walking around doing live without a setup, right? Those are more interesting and gets more engagement because people are like, what is
Yeah.
this guy doing, in his backyard, behind his pool?
You know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna do this. Thanks. This is
Yeah.
your because of you. I think for the because remember I just started a brand new brokerage, Y Realty. And I think on the Y Realty Instagram,
Mm.
I'm going to go live every day. And if it's not me, it'll be my business partner. So
Yeah.
one of us will go live every day. By the way, I just Googled how long should an Instagram live be in order for it to be successful, right? Successful.
Yeah.
It looks like 10 minutes at least. The longer,
Yeah.
the better.
Hmm.
So 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to find 10 minutes to talk to talk about something. That's crazy. It's gonna be
Ask
good.
ChatGPT, I want to recruit, I want to recruit
Mm.
this type of agent. Okay. What type of content, what are the topics, pain points, desires, and solutions are this type of agents looking for that I can talk about on my live videos that I'm planning to do every day? Give me a 30-day plan.
I like that. Solve the problem for these agents.
Yeah. So what we do, so this is what we do with our lives, right? So every time I get a guest on the podcast or I do live myself, I'm streaming on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live, right? So I'm live on these four platforms. So my followers I'm getting top of mind, right, with that. And then on the podcast itself, right, on the session itself, in the ChatGPT gives us what should we talk about that is relevant to the ideal audience that I have that ChatGPT knows, right? So it's either struggling agent or agents that are looking to scale their business or brokers that want systems, right? So what are the topics are it's relevant to them, right? And then different speakers come with their own niche. Like for example, you have something that we will talk about based on your background, right? So ChatGPT gives us all the questions. So all the questions I'm asking you, by the way, are given by ChatGPT based on your background, based on what's important to my audience, right? So what
Yeah,
we
I like
do
that.
is take that long form content. We use Opus Clip. So
I love Opus.
Opus takes 20-minute video to 20 short form content. We schedule it out from Opus to all of the platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Business, right? LinkedIn, right? It's all scheduled out.
Mhm.
So one every live that we do turns out to be 30 weeks of content. So we don't want to bombard the same pieces of content every single day. So this episode will be posted maybe 2 weeks from now. You will keep seeing like you're getting tagged on a reel at least once a week, for 30 weeks out, right? So
Oh,
it's like this content strategy becoming omnipresent. Whether I'm getting views or not, it's irrelevant. What's relevant is that 200 people, 500 people that see my content, right? Out of, I don't know, I think I have like 3,000 followers on my Instagram, right? Probably at least 2 to 500 people see that piece of content, and we're hitting your number, six short form content a day out of these lives that we are doing, right? So we do
interesting.
create content like that are specific to the niche itself, right? What we call is lead magnet contents, right? Like giving value, and you end it with a call to action, like, hey, if you want a free training on this, comment the word or DM me the word this, right? So we generate a lot of leads out of those, and I want to go up on those numbers. We do one a day right now, that type of content.
Mhm.
Eventually, like, I'm creating a whole library of that. Eventually I'll get to a level where I have a, you know, full library of being able to do 3 of those a day, right?
Okay.
3 lead magnets, 6 value, right? And then there is another type that I'm terrified of, which is viral, right? Like, you got to do something completely off the wall to get yourself introduced to new audience, right?
That's
I haven't
true.
gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there yet.
You know
uh,
what I found for that? Because I go viral once a week on different platforms. What I found is if you pick, and I learned this from Sean Cannell from Think Media.
mm.
He
I
he
was just in a challenge with them last week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have him on next week. So tune into that.
Yeah.
He told me, he says a trend hack. So if I
Mm.
apply it specifically to real estate, I get something that's being talked about that everyone is concerned on. So I typically go to Inman or Riz Media or Housing Wire, and I take a look at which
What are they
topic,
talking about? Yeah.
what's crossing, like
Mhm.
what are all three talking about? The
Ah,
same article. And I'm like, that's the topic. Then I
I
put
love
that in my background and then I talk about it.
So what's his name? I know Ricky Caruth does that a lot.
Yep.
Um, and who's the guy that just came up from nowhere? He's
I'm
like this.
terrible with names.
Yeah, me too. It's like he's this big Remax guy. I don't know if he's still with Remax, but a lot of
Yeah.
Remax people follow him. But anyway, let's talk about in our topic here. Let's come back to the
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to talk about, I have seen your journey, right? Over the, at least I've been following you for the last 5 to 6 years, and and you talk about a lot in, letting go of your ego when it comes to growing your business. Why do you think ego can hold agents back from being successful in this business?
Because we think we know how to succeed and we think we know better.
Hmm.
And the moment we think we know better is the moment we stop leading with curiosity, right? I'm
Hmm.
not saying don't have your values and principles in place, which create a sense of who you are, right? Don't let go of that. It's okay to have that type of ego, right? Hey, I'm
Yeah.
never going
Yeah.
to do this. I'm never going to do that. But when it
Yeah.
comes
If
to,
we didn't have ego, we probably get run over by a bus, right?
yeah, yeah, no, I'm not saying let go of your ego. I'm
Yeah.
saying, hey, let's lead with a little bit more curiosity and not say that
Mhm.
won't work in my market, right? Or the moment you're trying to think about the next thing to say is probably the moment that you need to step back and listen more, right?
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
this is why our conversations are going everywhere, because I'm just listening to you. Like, I have no idea what I'm gonna say next, man.
That's funny. No, for
Yeah,
sure. And it was interesting out of what you just said. It just resonated with me earlier this morning. So we do a lot of like leveraging Facebook groups, other people's Facebook group. Like there are groups with 300, 400,000 agents, and we create conversations in those groups. People that engage with us, we go into DMs. Like we have a virtual team that does that, like constantly pre-qualify, engaging people, starting conversation, pre-qualifying, booking appointment on my calendar. So this agent comes on the call and they're like, well, you approached me, so I don't know what this call is about. I was like, no problem. We just want to give you value on this call. And it sounds like to me you're probably doing well and you probably love everything that's going on. So I don't know if this is value for you, but what we could have done is just look into your business, identify gaps, and just show you what you should do. And she was just like, she got hit. Like, first of all, first like 5 minutes, she was just like, oh, I don't need to be on this call, which she showed up to, right? Like, why'd you show up? And then she just went like 360. Like, we had like a full-on 45-minute conversation talking about what she's doing in her business, but she was open to that. Like, she let go of the ego, she dropped it as soon as I said, you probably love everything that's going on in your business, you probably don't need this call. She just let it go. She just let it go, and she was just like, oh, no, no, it's not a waste of time. I was like, I don't want to waste your time. So she was like, oh, no, 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 it's not a waste of time. Tell me more about that. How do you identify the
mm,
gaps?
there you go. That's it.
So I love it. I love it. So would you share with us some experience that you have had where your ego may have gotten in the way in your business growth, and how'd you recognize that, and what did you do to
So
overcome it?
that's a good question. I think we all struggle with it. And I think
Yeah.
um, I've become just more aware of it so that I don't,
Mm.
so I can step back. One of the easiest ways. Now I'm assuming everyone's the same way. Okay, so just pay attention. One of the ways that I am always reminded of my ego is when I'm scrolling through social media. And I'm scrolling through social media, and then I get this feeling of like, what the fuck is this? Right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a second, right? Why did I even feel that? Do I have envy, jealousy? Do I want to do that? Right. And then I stop and I heart it and I comment and I put a heart. Right.
Mm.
And that's how I've become way more aware of it.
Yeah.
And there was one specifics. I've been doing that for years now, just to help me. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one thing that was really just eye-opening on the power of this for me personally was with Chris Smith. So Chris Smith and I have been friends for a long time, but we also had a rough patch, like
Yeah.
where we didn't see eye to eye, and it wasn't good. And and then he posted something about his book being re-released, right? And I went through the same thing in my head. I'm like, "Oh, fuck. What the fuck is this?" Right? Like,
Why
and
would
then I
you
go, "Whoa,
really?
whoa. Wait a second, Tristan." And this is me talking to myself. And it's like 2 seconds, right? I'm like, "Wait, what is this?" I'm like, "You know what? His book was good." I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "His book was good. I read it." Right? I'm like, "It's just go in, like it, comment, and Tristan, because you suck ass at this, go ahead and message him and congratulate him too." Right? And that's what I did.
I
Right?
love that. I love that.
And then he messaged me back. He goes, how's it going? I'm like, dude, great. And then we go back and forth. He's like, man, you should write a book. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to I finished up a book. It's about routines, evening routines. And he's like, you know what? Let me connect you to my publisher. And so
Wow.
he connects me to Wiley, which is like a 200-year-old publisher. And they contact me and then they said, "You've got a book to publish?" I'm like, "Yeah." I send it to them. They're like, "Mm-mm." He goes, "Do you have any real estate related content, like book, because your audience is real estate?" And I said, "No, but I can create one." They said, "Create it and we'll publish it." I created it, they published it, and it became a bestseller. And that's how I got the
Wow.
book.
That is amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing, man. That's the lesson. I guess like if you have missed the lesson, here is drop your ego, drop your freaking ego. I think a lot of people, I truly believe that not everyone's egotistic, right? They become egotistic, right? We are not inherently egotistic. And when I say egotistic, it's like, oh, I'm better than you, right? So people struggle with, balancing between confidence and ego. A lot of people think their ego is their confidence, and at the other way
Mm,
around, where some people that need to be confident don't want to be confident because they don't want to be egotistic, right? So especially
that's a
as
good
a
point.
leader leading communities, right? Like uh how when managing a real estate team, organization, a business, how do you manage the balance?
I think the balance comes in the daily practice, like with that I do
Yeah,
with
mind being
the com
mindful.
yeah, being mindful, and then the other piece is you've gotta put effort into it. I know daily, for
Mm,
me just
mm,
continuous reading, um, and I like fiction, but I really like nonfiction more. In
yeah.
fact, biographies and self-help books, right?
Wow.
What they categorize as self-help. So I'm always reading something, or I'm always listening to a podcast.
Mm,
And what I found is that if I'm always learning from what these people are putting out there, because it's their best, right? We don't get to see the bad part. We only get to see their greatness, right? And if we see their bad part, there's always a lesson.
mm,
So what I'm doing is I'm just continually consuming the best or the
mm,
lessons of everybody else. And those are the things that are in my head all the time. So I
Hmm.
can recall things if I have a situation. I'm like, wait a second, what would Warren Buffett do here? Right? Or
Yeah.
what did Abraham Lincoln do like in 1859, right before he became president? What's going on there? Right. So I think that has allowed me to step back and think quickly through things and not lead with as much ego that I would when I was much younger.
Wow. And I think what I hear you say is continue to grow and expand your mind and learn, right? Don't settle. Doesn't matter what level you are, especially at your level, if people get half of your success, they'll probably start thinking like, well, I don't need to learn anymore. Right. So what I hear you say is continue to expose yourself to new knowledge and continue to grow your operating system so you can start operating at a higher level. Now, something you have done that probably requires a lot of dropping of ego, and I don't know if you have publicly talked about it, but I definitely want to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it, no matter if you want to talk about it or not. Is
Okay,
your
good.
your move out of EXP, right? So what led to
Yeah.
that decision, and how has that impacted your
Yeah.
business so far?
For me, it was just remember it was just leadership. I thought so. I think they have great leadership,
Mm,
but when I mean leadership is just direction, right?
mm, yeah,
I want to focus on a different direction
yeah,
for where I think I should be going, and then also the agents that I touch and connect with, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I have the experience of running. You could call it a brokerage, right? With a non-specific brand except
yeah,
lab coats, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that has allowed me
Broker
to
agnostic, broker agnostic
yeah, it's
community.
kind of an interesting thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so that's allowed me to see what agents struggle with
yeah.
on a daily basis, and I think what agents desire, right? What
Hmm.
they really want. And then the most important piece, their biggest challenges internally as humans, right?
Hmm.
And I've lived it and I still live it. And I thought, you know what, let's go a different direction. I'm
Yeah,
not saying that any other brokerage is going in a bad direction. It's where they think they should be going.
yeah.
For me, I think it came down to three things. And this was the question, Saeed. It was, what's the one thing that's not going to change 20, 30, 100 years from now in real estate? And the answer for me was relationships.
Hmm.
And I've been in this for 20 years. I've watched us adopt DocuSign. Zillow came out of nowhere, right?
MLS.
YouTube, Facebook, right? Now AI, right? But guess what? Like relationships still matter the most.
Yeah.
And you're going to have companies come out and say, "Hey, we're now a tech company," or "We're now a media marketing company," or even other companies that are copying EXP. "Hey, we're now a rev share company," right?
Yeah.
And that's all great, but none of that matters to the human part of me
Mm,
because I want three things. I want to build strong relationships that help me build an amazing community
mm,
where I can build more leaders.
yeah.
And that is the focus of what we are here. And
Wow.
that's what I've learned through LabCoat Agents.
So what was what was your thought process when you joined EXP? How long were you with EXP, and what was your thought process coming into EXP?
Yeah, my thought process, so I was with them 3 years,
Hmm.
and my thought process was, I'm gonna come in through the Success Magazine side of things, right,
Yeah.
as the CMO to
Hmm.
be able to change the trajectory on a human level because
Hmm.
Success has been around for over 100 years,
Yeah.
and their main focus is to elevate the human, right? Whether it's business or inside, doesn't matter. And I thought, yeah, let's go that route and change this industry through that brand.
Hmm.
And it didn't happen the way I envisioned. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I can do this separately, right? I've
Yeah.
already got a
Yeah.
massive audience.
Yeah.
Let's just go and do this independently.
Hmm.
That's
That's
it.
amazing. So what I know this is still new for you, and you're still probably figuring everything out with Y Realty. What lessons did you learn so far transitioning out, and how have you adapted your business model since the change?
Yeah, great question. So here's the one thing I thought of after. I'm like, you never know what's gonna. So this is my ego really low. I'm like, I have
Mm.
no idea what the hell's gonna happen now, right? I just know that when I approach things with sincerity
Yeah.
and the desire to help out people, like I did with LabCoat Agents,
Mm.
people just are attracted. And when I put it out there, the number one surprise is the thousands of people that reached out wanting to join the real
Wow.
estate company. I was
Wow.
surprised. I was like really surprised because the opposite would be nobody wants to join, right?
Yeah.
So I'm literally busy every day with our team where we're just going on and jumping and talking to people one on one. And some of them are brokerages, some of them are independent brokerages, some of them are teams, and of course, a lot of them are agents, single agents.
Mm.
And that to me, when I'm having these conversations, the one thing that connected with them, and this was humbling, right? This is the lesson, was that they said, look, you've been showing up for the industry for 10 years and it's consistent and you
Yeah.
brought amazing leadership and transparency. We love that. We believe in that and we believe in you. And I
Mhm.
thought, shit, I should have done this earlier. That was it. That's
So
the
so
one thing that I learned a lot right there.
so well, tell us about why realty. Well, why is why realty different?
Yeah, listen, it's different because I think along the way, the real estate industry lost its connection to why it exists.
Mm.
And you can tell because the consumer doesn't have the best feeling towards real estate agents,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Because we spam people, we're aggressive, right? Not everybody, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what stands out is we're spamming, we're aggressive,
Mm.
we're showing, we're flashy. Hey,
Yeah.
look at the nice car I'm driving. You see these Instagram videos, they're ridiculous, right? And they showcase their amazing awards. Hey, I'm $1 million listing agent
Producer.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And and all of that is not what we're supposed to be leading with. And then you add everything else with the confusion where now you have companies leading saying that they're a tech company. Then you have companies leading and saying they're a rev share company. All of those things confuse the agents as
Mm.
to what they should be focused on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we as an industry are focused on building amazing relationships for the life term
Mm.
of this that we're doing, I don't know how we don't change that perception of who we are from the ground up. But the problem is we're
Yeah.
not doing that. And I want to bring that back. I want to make sure that our agents focus on that. That is the most important thing in our whole industry so that we're still here 10, 15, 20 years from now, no matter what tech or no matter
Mhm.
what company comes after us.
Wow. No, that's amazing. Sounds like to me practicing a lot of humility and focusing on growth rather than personal image, contributing to that long-term success. What is the model like? I'm now curious. Like, you're making me
Yeah,
curious.
it's super easy, man. So one of
Yeah.
the things I learned from reading Steve Jobs continually and Apple and all these amazing
Mm.
companies and Seth Godin too.
Yeah.
Simplicity attracts.
Mm.
That's what it comes down to. And when
Yeah.
I looked at everything else, I was like, some of these are kind of confusing. I can't even explain it, right? And so I thought,
Go
let's
watch
make
this
it.
15-minute video or 1-hour video and then
I
talk
know.
to
Let's just keep it super simple. Can I explain this to somebody on the technical
in a
side?
conversation.
Yeah, so that they can then explain it to somebody else that's interested, because then that starts attracting.
Hmm.
So here's how I simplified it. Really easy. 80-20 split, 12K cap, 149 a month. That's a single agent.
Hmm.
80-20 split, 6K cap with $99 for a team member.
Wow.
There is rev share. It's pretty easy. Rev share is 5 levels down. Each level is 10%, and it's completely open. There's no qualifiers.
Wow.
And that's it. And that's it.
That sounds very similar. I know. Epic. I don't know if you're familiar with Epic Realty.
I am.
I think I just looked at their model recently, and that sounded like I don't know. Their cap is probably higher, but they have that 5 level rev share
They
model
have
with
the
all of
they have the 5 levels, 10% each one.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
what we did is we looked at everything that's out there and we try to
Okay.
simplify it. And if it
Mm,
was already there, we didn't want to recreate it, right?
okay. Yeah.
So we thought, what can we do that's easy to explain? 5 levels down, 10% each. That's
Mm,
easy.
mm.
80/20, 12K cap, 149. Done. And
Wow.
then the type of agent we're attracting, obviously they're looking to, you know what I keep hearing from, and these are top producers that come to us. They say, we want to be aligned with great leadership.
Mm,
And that's like the number one thing. And
wow.
then after that, they're like, great, we know we like everything you stand for. We like the company. And then they ask, well, what are the splits? Right? The moment that you reverse that for a company, we're like, hey, what
Yes.
are the splits? Then you're doing things wrong.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Definitely, it has to be based on desire or the pain points. I could think of like a great commercial for Why Realty. Just look up like
Um,
what are the I guess um what are the characteristics or what are the symptoms that a real estate agent is experiencing bad leadership, right? And you come up with all these things, right? ChatGPT could give that to you, and then you start a commercial by saying, "Are you experiencing?"
like, does your stomach hurt? Do you have diarrhea? I like that. You're going right for the pain points.
No, those things in you
It does work.
if you just sit there and watch, like you could look up best Super Bowl commercials, right? Like there's YouTube videos on that. Like people created YouTube videos with best
Yes.
Super Bowl
I
commercials,
love
and you
those,
just
man.
watch commercials like in a row. You will see they all start with pain points or like exaggerating the desire, right? Like super exaggerating the desire.
Yeah.
Now I know we are running out of time, and I could talk to you forever. So, what advice would you give agents who are maybe just starting out or maybe struggling, especially with everything that's going on, right?
Yeah.
They might have unrealistic expectations, right? Or they're probably focused on all of these shiny objects or maybe stuck with their own ego, right?
Mhm,
What advice
mhm.
would you give them in building a solid business where they start seeing results right away?
Yeah, there's 2 things. One, whatever you think your skill set is, you're going to have to do more of that.
Mm,
So, let's say you're amazing at talking to people in person. Let's say that you are, right? Then what are the actions that you can take in real estate that allow you to do that more?
mm.
Is it open houses? Is it door knocking? Maybe you're not so good on the phone, so just skip that, right?
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
to person, in
Yeah.
person. But
Mm.
what if you're really good on social? I'm like, well, guess what you're going to be doing all day, right? So I think you need to take a look at, as the person listening in,
Strengths.
take a look at your strengths,
Mm,
right? And do more of that, a lot more of it. And you think
mm.
that's enough? It's not enough. You need to go to Chat GPT and say, hey, how can I triple this? In
Yeah.
fact, when it triples it, you're like, how can I fit this into 30 days and go crazy? What would the craziest thing look like? And then you're on the right path at that
Wow.
point. That's what
Wow.
it takes to succeed. And the other piece, never stop working on your skills, your skill set, your mind, because that's one
Mm,
thing, no matter where you go as a brokerage or even as a business, even outside of real
mm,
estate,
mm.
you take those skills with you. You take those things with you. You're always learning and you can apply those things everywhere else.
I love it. I love it. And I don't know where I read that. Like investing in your skills is recession proof. Who is it? Warren Buffett? Was
Warren
it?
Buffett. That was
Yeah.
Warren
And
Buffett.
okay, so this is my version of Warren Buffett for real estate agents.
Shoot.
Investing in your skills is NAR proof.
That's funny. That's
But I
very
love it,
funny.
man. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you for showing up like you do always, and leading the industry in, where it needs to go, and versus where it is and where it's heading to. Right? I think there's a
That's
lot of
true.
people that are just consumed by their own self interest. Right? Like, how would it benefit me? Right? And then they're just, just blinds following the blinds and going into the rabbit hole, or snake hole, more like. But
That's
I,
right.
I love what you're doing, everything doing, keep doing what you're doing, and would love to collaborate more, and maybe connect more and see how we can collaborate together.
I love that, man. I would love to.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening in. Those of you who listened in on the live, and those of you who might listen in later, you can find Tristan all over the social media, right? LabCoat Agents, Tristan Ahumada. Is there any other way they can reach out if they want to learn more about Y Realty?
Yeah, listen, if you could message me on Instagram. It's my first and last name, and you'll find me there. It's the one with a little check mark, not the other 100 that are fake. So just go to the one with the little check mark on Instagram.
Or they're gonna try to sell you some crypto or something
Yes,
if it doesn't have the check mark.
that's funny. Crypto, yeah. That's how you
All
know you
right.
got the wrong one.
He's not selling crypto, or insurance on your car.
I love it.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for, I appreciate you showing up, and with your time and everything, and adding value to our community. We'll continue to do, and follow you and see where you go with this new journey of yours.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
All
it.
right.
It was fun being here.
All right. All right. All right. Thank you.